Welcome everyone to BC's Offbeat Bass Gear. I am BC. Today we are going to do a bass unboxing. I just started on this. The shipper did a ridiculously good job packaging this, which I am thrilled about, since that's usually a good indicator that it is as described. I already own one of these basses, and if you look at the little object in the front here, this is a luggage scale. So that's a little bit of foreshadowing as to what we are going to be looking at today. The instrument is one that I already own, but it's considered a classic bass. And I found this one at a ridiculously good price with the original case and all the original parts and everything else, because there's a secondary market on some of these, let's say, original parts that are worth more than a lot of these instruments taken as a whole. But let's slide it out of the box. We'll see what we have here. And then for the second part, we're going to do a sound demo of this one side by side with the one I already own. Now, if you can see the case, it is the classic 80s kind of chainsaw style Peavey, which I love. So obviously what we have here is a Peavey bass, and a lot of you may have figured out what it is, because there are only a handful of Peavey basses that are truly iconic, and this is one of them. I've not opened this since I received it, so let's flip open the case and see exactly what we have. Like my case, it looks like the lock is, oh no, the lock does work, oddly enough. And the unveiling. Yes. The legendary T-40. This is going to require some cleanup. It had been in storage for quite a while, so there's some oxidation and the like, and I'm going to have to torque the neck and really work on it, but has all the original knobs, even a generic strap, and everything else you could look for. Since I already own another one of these, we're going to do a side-by-side comparison. We're going to weigh them. I can already tell you this one is lighter than the one I own by a decent margin, actually. So let's do sort of a little side-by-side. This is my older one here. This is the new one. I have to admit, the newer one is infinitely lighter, even though the body itself is thicker and lacks a lot of the arc, the contour that this one does. So just got to sit this here temporarily. We'll do another quick look at this. As I said, it definitely was in storage, but it's really nice. There's no buckle rash. The tilt screw is still in it, although I have extras if I need to replace it. Someone is a pro who played this. The classic guitar player stringing a bass who doesn't know about the bass string post holes. So certainly this has been played. I'm going to have to clean it up a little bit and get rid of some of the oxidation. But out of the box, things are looking pretty good. So I hope you enjoyed that. We'll do a part 2 that'll be a side-by-side of both of these basses. This is BC, and I hope you enjoy your day. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, welcome to day 2 of Project Resurrect the T-40. The seller posited on the listing that he felt that all this bass needed to really get back into playing condition was a basic setup, some cleaning, restringing, you know, kind of the basic maintenance you do with any bass. So I took him at his word, bought the bass, unpacked it, and lo and behold, he was right. Actually, I put a couple hours into polishing the frets, conditioning the neck, just basic maintenance, and bass is working fine. I'm going to do kind of a quick walkthrough of the T-40 with you. I'm not going to go into the myriad of sound settings you can get with the T-40. There's a lot of videos on YouTube that do that much better than I'm capable of doing. But I'll give you sort of a quick rundown. Your neck pickup and bridge pickup are toggled on and off with a standard three-way select. As you would expect, this tiny toggle switch is neck, middle, bridge. And then there's a volume and tone, volume, tone, neck, volume, tone, bridge. What's interesting is this smaller toggle switch, which is the in phase, out of phase button, knob, I should say, switch. The switch in the up position is in phase, down is out of phase. This reverses the rear pickup. So you have to have it set in middle position for it to function at all. Also, the volume pots are configured to allow you, essentially when you get below about 7, you go from humbucker to single coil to humbucker, and the tone controls also have tone capacitors on them. So essentially what you can do if you're really exploring, the sound palette of the bass is you can have a neck humbucker, a bridge single coil. You can have a bridge humbucker with a neck single coil. You can have all humbucker in the bridge. There's a lot you can do with it. There's some pretty neat charts online that give you suggested settings of tones that you can get out of this. I guess maybe the one that I found most useful was sort of the faux Rickenbacker setting, which was one I really liked. And I think I'll use that as my demo, just because I think it gives you a good sense of the importance of the in-phase, out-of-phase, too. So when we're doing sort of the faux, there's the faux RIC 401 or 4003, we get our bridge position set in the center. And then essentially what we've got is the bridge volume and neck the bridge volume and the tone, they're all kind of set around 8 o'clock. And the difference is the in-phase and the out-of-phase. So let me start with the in-phase tone. That's supposed to be essentially a RIC 4000, and I'll just do the standard. I'll do some thumb with it. I'll do some fingerstyle, some picking and some muted picking, and you can let me know what you think. We'll do some flat picking. This is the 4003 tone, and it's in phase. Muted picking. And we'll do some thumb slapping. Now let's switch over. This is going to be sort of a faux 4001 tone, and this is the out of phase. First of all, let me just hit an open G, and you'll hear it in phase, out of phase. Much shrill, much more nasally tone. I don't know if it's necessarily a 401, but it's 4001, but it's definitely something different. Let's hear what it sounds like. pick. Out of phase. And muted. And let's do a little thumb slapping. And back to finger. Let me just hit a 3-octave E and you'll hear the tone with out of phase, and then I'm going to switch it back to in phase. So I hope that kind of gives you a sense of the difference you get there. I mean, to be honest with you, I do like the out of phase feature. I know a lot of people think it's kind of useless, but I think it's got its place and you can do a lot with it. Excuse me. I'm not certain if it really captures a 4001 or a 4003, but I think it gets pretty close. And there really are not that many basses out there that are sort of configured like this. The only other ones I can think of from the same era were the Carvin LB50 series. They were very similar. They had 2 humbuckers also. They had individual coil splits for humbucker to single in each one of the pickups, and they also had an out of phase. So if you really do not like the T40 design, but you like some of the tonal variation you can get from it, maybe see if you can find an old LB50 from Carvin. I have found they do sound quite similar. And sort of the elephant in the room with these is the weight. So I purchased this T40 and I wanted to compare it to my other T40, which I've owned forever, right here. And initially I was certain, I was dead cold certain that in fact the newer one was noticeably lighter. And this is a good exercise in sensory illusion. I weighed them both with my handy dandy trusty luggage scale. Did it a bunch of times to make sure it was essentially zeroed properly. They both weigh 12.2 pounds each, which means even for T40s, these are kind of on the heavier side. To give you a good idea of where that fits in kind of the guitar world, the heaviest guitar that I have is actually this, I think this is about a 2000 or 2001 Korean-made Epiphone Les Paul Black Beauty with a Bigsby on it. It is heavy. There is no two ways about it. Thick body, you get the whole 9 yards on this. And it weighs 9.8 pounds. So essentially, as heavy as that is, each one of these T40s is about 2.5 pounds heavier, which means they are really a nightmare to play for a long set. Probably why they really, have never really gotten their due. There's a lot of them on the market. You can still get them pretty reasonably priced. If you're looking for something a little different, I highly encourage you to pick up a T40. Just make sure if you pick one up, recognize you're going to spend a lot of your time playing sitting down. Once again, this is BC from BC's Offbeat Bass Gear. Thanks very much for tuning in. If you've got comments, suggestions, insults, ridicule, anything at all, put it in the comments and I'll be sure and respond. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in and have a good day. Thank you.